guys, it's Tim here. I'm going to do a video on how to install an H100 in a Cooler Master HAF XM case. One issue I have with this case is there really isn't enough room to do a push and pull config. We've already installed the water block to the CPU. Follow the instructions. It's really easy. There's a back plate that goes on, and then you just mount with the thermal pad into the socket and tighten down the screws. But what I really wanted to talk about today was how the radiator mounts in the top of the HAF XM. So one way you could do this is to come around, it's this way. You have to go wide and put it on top. So the reason you have to go this direction is because this cutout is not big enough for the H100. So even though there is a space there that looks like it would accommodate the tubes, it needs to go all the way out to the edge. So you can't actually line up the holes with the screw holes to be able to get it in. So basically you have to mount it with the water tubes this way. There's pluses and minuses to this. So this case cannot, with the stock fan or even a normal 120mm fan, there isn't room with the bezel on here for that to clear. So you could do a push-pull if the roof was a little bigger here. You could do a push-pull like this with one fan on the inside. Unfortunately, there's not room. With most motherboards, there's also not room to mount the H100 on the inside, put a fan on it, and then a fan in the roof. So you're pretty much, with a case this big, unfortunately, you're pretty much looking at a, either a push or a pull setup. What I'm going to do today is a pull setup. There's two reasons for this. One is I think I'm going to probably go with the Noctua or a NF F120 silent fans, and I hate their color. So if I put them up here, you won't be able to see them. And it's a win-win because they're super quiet and they're extremely directional, so they will pull extremely well through the radiator. The other way you could do it is a push configuration, which they're mounted on the inside. And if I was using my Corsair SP120s, then I would do that because the blue ring would be down, and that's what you would see. And in my theory too, that would help the system be a little quieter while running. So just some thoughts on that. Whichever way you do it, the performance is roughly the same. You don't really get a performance boost by doing push or pull. So we're going to do pull. The upside to pull, the one upside, is that if you want to clean the radiator, since this side will be down, carefully go back through here. Careful not to kink the cables. When it's underneath, you can just wipe off the bottom because the fans will be up here, so any dust you can just wipe off. So the easiest way to mount this H100, always look on your fans for their direction, and on these, it's right here. So up is that way, and I always make sure to that my cable is going to point where I'm going to loop through there. So basically you just want to roughly align the screw holes to where you think they're going to need to be. And then what I like to do is just sit the drive on there and then try to tag two corners. These are nice because they have little holes in the side, so you can actually see when you're going through. So you just want to just wiggle it in there, and what I do is I just finger tighten them in the corners, just so that it'll hold itself up here. And it's a little hard, and you want to make sure, I'm trying not to get in your guys' way here, but it is a little hard to thread these without being on the back side and looking. There we go. So what I like to do here is make sure you're lined up down at the end, and then just tighten these just enough, you know, so you suck the fan down a little tiny bit. So not too much, just enough that it'll hold it in there. And then grab our other fan, again making sure it's oriented correctly and making sure that the cable will go over here. And in this case, you want to, I think I want to go over the top or through the middle. Yeah, through the middle will work, and not pinch the cable. And then I'm going to do the same thing except to the opposite corners. I've just found, for me personally, that if you're not mounting the fans directly to the H100, that this scenario is just a little easier, because you don't, you only have to hold it up there for a short amount of time instead of, trying to really hold on to it. Let's see if we can get that last screw in there. There we go. So just tighten these down, snug but not too tight, and then we're going to go back through and put in the other 4 screws. This will be a lot easier because they should be pretty much lined up for you. When you're tightening these down, you want to make sure you're not deforming the plastic around the plastic ring around the fan, because that will cause noise. So you want to go tight, but not too tight. Make sure it's not going to rattle because you haven't tightened it down enough, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're not going to cause noise because you were trying to be overzealous in your screw tightening. The nice thing with these new Corsair fans is the rubber tightening grommets, where the screws go through and tighten, has a lot of give. So you can actually, you probably over tighten a little and get away with it on these. With the Noctuas, I don't know that you'll be able to, and with the stock ones you definitely can't. So let's go ahead and plug in. Actually got to loop the through. So in the H100, or the Cooler Master HAF XM, there's a nice little hole right here that goes down to your motherboard. Just push through. And then these simply plug into, right now I'm plugging directly into the H100 water block. Later on I'm going to do some tests where I try plugging directly into the motherboard header and bypassing the water block. There's been some reports that say that you may be able to get a little less ramp up and ramp down of fans. So I'm not sure if that's true, but I'll test it for you guys and see what happens. Okay, now this is on the high setting. because I really wanted to do a worst case scenario. And it's amazing how much quieter this actually is. I'll overlay an image of these stock fans running. But even just these fans are an amazing amount quieter. I mean, amazing amount quieter. So let's see what our little decibel meter says here. So we're looking at 8 dB almost quieter, and the noise floor in this room is pretty bad. It's about 42 dB. So 8 dB to me, standing here, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's a big difference, like a big difference. And that's without the cover on right now. So it'll, you know, the cover will dampen the sound a little. So that's my guide on how to install the Corsair SP120 quiet fans on your H100 in your HAF XM case. We'll do some comparison tests in another video with the stock fans and with some Noctua F120 fans. We'll also try going directly to the motherboard header and seeing if bypassing the pump's logic on the fans and letting the motherboard handle that logic, which should be a little more intelligent, is actually any better or not. So this is Tim for TimmyTechTV. Please subscribe, guys, it really means a lot to me, and I'll see you next time.